So Rajan, can you kick off the session by sharing your unique perspective on Bharat? You've done so much of work on internet consumption, vernacular, etc. Why don't we start with your opening remarks, Rajan?
Look, I mean, in terms of solving for Bharat, I think we've been talking about solving for Bharat for at least a few years now. I think when the internet hit about 300 million internet users, we said now we are clearly getting into sort of penetrating Bharat with the internet. Now India has over 500 million users, and clearly, we are well into being able to solve for Bharat. But the reality is, in many ways, despite the tremendous progress that we've made over the last 10 plus years in the Indian startup ecosystem and Indian technology ecosystem, but much longer than that, we are still in the early days of really innovating for Bharat, right? So if you go back only 10 years ago, 2010, India had less than 1,000 startups. We had 0 unicorns. We had very little venture capital funding. At the end of 2019, India had over 40,000 startups. I had 30 unicorns, in fact, 8 of whom had become unicorns in the year 2019. And in 2019, we had over $14.5 billion of venture capital that had come into the Indian startup ecosystem. But despite this tremendous progress, the reality is that the innovations have largely focused on, in many ways, the first 200 million users, and in many ways, in a few sectors extensively, and had just started to happen in many ways what I call sort of the core sectors of agriculture, education, healthcare, and then over time, obviously, spaces like sanitation and so on. So I'd say we are still very much in the early days of having the kinds of innovation we should have that we should be seeing in Bharat. And there are a number of reasons for that, which I think we'll talk about over the course of this session.
Hey, Vibhor, let's ask him for 2-3 suggestions on what we should be doing to help social ventures raise capital, because that's a big issue for startups working in Bharat.
Yeah, so look, maybe the question is broader, which is why haven't we seen yet the kind of innovations, be it social enterprises or be it for-profit enterprises or be it traditional, what we would think of as startups in Bharat? And I think there are 3 reasons at least. There are probably more, but there are at least 3 reasons. I think the first is, look, we have massive problems to be solved. I mean, you need big problems if you want to go build a big company because you have to solve a problem that is, at large scale. There's no shortage of problems in Bharat, right? Meaning in a positive way, because, when you have a problem is when you can build a company. So we have massive problems, massive opportunity spaces in, whether it's agriculture, healthcare, education, sanitation, farming, so on and so forth. But the issue is, there's very little disposable income, right? So if you think about to build a company of size and scale, you need to have large addressable markets. And I think in Bharat, what we have is we have a large number of populations, right? Call it 800 million people who live outside of urban India, or maybe even more, 900 million that live out, outside of urban India and rural India. But the average income levels in general are much, much lower, right? So in a country where GDP per capita is very, very low, you're looking at a sub-segment, actually more than 60-70% of the population, that has income levels that are even or lower. So as a result, what you end up with is, this possibility that you can get a large number of users using a product or a service, but monetizing from it becomes very, very difficult, right? So I think problem number 1 is, and that only time solves that problem, right? Because over time, India's GDP per capita grows, and everybody becomes, their income levels grow, and that's a problem that's only solved by time, right? So first big issue is, addressable markets, from a value or a revenue standpoint, are still quite low. And I want to use a very interesting analogy, right? So in China, which now has call it 900 million plus internet users, there was a company called Pinduoduo, PDD, that was actually founded in 2015. And what PDD did was it built an e-commerce company focusing more on tier 3, 4, 5, pretty much rural, what you might call rural and lower income Chinese consumers, right? And they went from 0 to $4 billion of revenue in 4 years. They listed on NASDAQ, and the company is now worth $70 billion. Now, the reason they were able to do that is because the average GDP per capita in rural China is now $3,600, right? Which is, as you guys know, is about 50% higher than where, almost 50% higher than where India is today. So when as incomes grow, right, purchasing power grows, and your ability to build. So that's the first big issue. And as I said, look, only time solves that problem, right? We'll have to. We'll have to see 5, 10, 15 years go by. So that's the first issue. I think the second issue is, look, there's very little capital that is currently focused on these kinds, solving these kinds of problems. And the reason you're not seeing as much, let's call it traditional venture capital, is because of this issue of it's very difficult to see how a large company gets built, right? How do we see a business that's going to generate thousands of crores of revenue that becomes profitable over some period of time, built over, let's say, 8 to 10 year period? So it still has been quite hard to see that happening, although that's changing, and I'll talk about some of those examples. So second is, capital. And the third one really is entrepreneurs. If you're a very strong entrepreneur today, Indian entrepreneur, right, you're going to try to build a business that, where, let's say, in 10 or 15 years, you can see it becoming a very large business. So far we have seen, entrepreneurs focus on sort of, let's say, solving for Bharat, but we haven't seen them in larger numbers. So I think those are really the three main issues. And I think the fourth one really is, we probably do need some policy unlocks that hopefully you all will talk about later when Mr. Kant is speaking, that could unlock innovation in sectors like agriculture, healthcare, and so on. So I'd say those are the four big barriers that we've seen. So it's not just a capital problem, right? Capital always goes where there's a large market opportunity, but the market opportunity needs to be, centered around the ability to build a large business. So hopefully this is one of the things we could talk about. Is my view has been now for several years that if we really want to go after this problem, we need to create a new class of capital or a new category of capital where that is going to go out and fund social ventures, for-profit ventures, traditional startups that are going to go solve for these kinds of businesses.
So Rajan, to follow up on that one, the new kind of capital, should it have to be only government-led, or what role would private investors play? That's one part. And the second is, how big a problem do you see is talent, or people just understanding what has to be solved in Bharat?
Yeah, look, I do think the government has a role to play, and I think the role could be along several different parameters, if you will, right? I think the first is, look, the government's 10,000 crore fund of funds, which is now being deployed by SIDBI, right, which was created after the launch of the Startup India by Honorable Prime Minister. Actually, that has been a very, very good program. I was on the investment committee of that fund of funds for a couple of years before I joined Sequoia. I was on that, and really helped create many more new fund managers, right? So I think first thing would be if either through that fund of funds or maybe create a separate fund of funds focused on essentially providing the launch capital, right? So what the fund of funds does is it can provide you up to 20 or 30% of the corpus that you're trying to raise, but specifically focused on creating sort of funds that would fund entrepreneurs who are innovating for Bharat, right? And these, when I say different category of capital, because expecting 25-30% IRR from these companies may actually be very difficult, and quite frankly may not be realistic, right? So this would be funds that maybe have a lower rate of return, right? So it's some sort of hybrid sort of a different rate of return, I should say, that would be lower than traditionally what we would expect from venture capital funds. On second, they may also have slightly longer holding periods, because it does take a long time to build these kinds of companies. So I think that's the first. I think second, look, the government sovereign wealth fund that we have, it's quite interesting that maybe they should take a pool of their capital and also try to encourage, try to create, let's try to create maybe 3, 4, 5 new funds whose only mandate will be to invest in sort of these innovators or entrepreneurs who are solving for Bharat. So that's number 2. And I think the third one is, look, the government has a lot of, every ministry, obviously now with COVID, everybody's focused on COVID, but before pre-COVID, almost every ministry actually had set aside a corpus for innovation, right? So the health ministry, the education ministry, the agriculture ministry, you name your ministry, the mining ministry, etc. And I think, but it was always it was quite difficult to get access to those, those set of corpuses, right? Grant corpuses, if you will. And I think if that can be made easier so that you can access it. So I say that's the fourth. And the fifth one is, look, we should nationally celebrate the entrepreneurs that are building for Bharat, right? If you look at all the news in mainline media, if you look at regional news, etc., we keep talking about, you know, the most valuable, largest companies in India, and rightfully so, because they've built incredible companies we should all be proud of. But we don't really, if you ask somebody, even somebody who's quite familiar with the startup ecosystem, name 10 companies that are solving for Bharat, I think that would be quite challenging, right? So I think, again, look, that's not something government can do directly about, but, I would love to see, Honorable Prime Minister Modi, Mr. Amitabh Kant, Honorable Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad, Minister Piyush Goyal, all of them start talking about these innovators that are solving for Bharat, because, they are out there. They're not out there in the hundreds yet. But, and I can talk about some of them that are very, very interesting. But, so I'd say those are the set of things. So the government can. And I think, look, the good news is we have a government that has been very, very progressive with startups, right? So the launch of the Startup India initiative, when Honorable Prime Minister came into government, the creation of the Fund of Funds, the aggressive push on the India Stack, the launch of UPI. I can go through all of these things, right? So these are all things that have happened in the current regime over the last 5-6 years, and but there hasn't yet been this focus on solving for Bharat or innovating for Bharat, and I think it's something that that we should really try to focus on a lot more.
You have talked about celebrating entrepreneurship and building up the businesses and startups. One thing that we are noticing is the domain expertise or the talent. So what do you think? The understanding of social problems, the talent is a deterrent in the startup solving for this? And the follow-up question could be, how can we help people understand the real issue in Bharat and solving them?
Number one, we have to create role models, right? We have to celebrate the fact that there are companies that are, or startups or innovators that are doing really interesting things already. Right? It'd be interesting, right? Even if I assume, I don't know how many people we have on this webinar, but if you ask the folks on this webinar, how many of them can name more than 10 entrepreneurs or innovators who are solving for Bharat? I don't know how many of them will be able to name 10 new companies, right? Second, I think, it would be very interesting to create almost a Bharat entrepreneurship platform, where, let's say, we take 50, seasoned entrepreneurs, right? Not sort of 21-year-olds who just graduated from IIT, but either people who've been working in companies or people who started and sold their first company, or maybe the first company didn't work out. And let's create a EIR program. An EIR program is an entrepreneurship in residence type program, where it's a 12-month program where we could give these entrepreneurs a stipend. It's a stipend that, allows them to kind of live and travel and things like that, and take them on a immersion of Bharat, so they can really spend time, live in these spaces, learn about the challenges, learn about the gaps, right? And then give them also, as part of this program, tie them up with the kind of capability, whether it's product, whether it's engineering, whether it's marketing, whether it's infrastructure building, because a lot of these businesses, as you all know, will be online and offline companies. So I would say, look, so I think it's a multi-part program, right? First, we have to create awareness, because if you're let's say a 28-year-old, you're coming out of Flipkart or Paytm, or pick your favorite Indian unicorn, or Google or Amazon or whatever, and you really want to be an entrepreneur, right? You would not naturally think about going and solving for Bharat, because you've never heard about great companies or interesting entrepreneurs doing amazing work that are solving for Bharat, right? So you have to create a level of awareness, and that I think creating this level of awareness in my mind is very, very important. Then second, you need to expose these entrepreneurs, right, to those sets of areas. So I'd say that's, and then the third one really is, why don't we run a sort of a nationwide program? Maybe we pick, let's say, 30 or 40 tier 2, tier 3 towns, right, which there has been some level of entrepreneurship, and run boot camps to help young people who are either existing entrepreneurs or people who want to be entrepreneurs, help them sort of do hackathons, do boot camps to help them come up with ideas and then mentor them, right? I must say that I am incredibly impressed at the kind of companies. Now, these are not companies that are solving for Bharat, right? Just a couple of weekends ago, I talked to a co-working company in Indore, which actually already has many centers, and pre-COVID was actually very profitable. That's quite remarkable, right? When you have some of our large co-working companies that obviously are not profitable, and the same thing, right? Whether it's digital health companies, pharma distribution companies, but these are sort of more still sort of city-centric businesses, right, if you will. But the entrepreneurs are there, right? Well, I think what we need them to do is both make them aware of sort of the bigger challenges, if you will, that lie in Bharat, and also help them build the skills that are required to build for those businesses.
So Rajan, I know we are a little out of time, but let me summarize some of the excellent things that you came up with. And I know Devjani is also on the call. And so with NASSCOM and with Amitabh Kant and Niti Aayog and the government, etc., we can see if we can bring some of them. So let me just quickly summarize a few things that you said. One is about capital structures, and I think that's a great one. We'll take it to Amitabh Kant in the afternoon when he comes in. Second is just the celebration of people who solve for Bharat. And I think that should be a program that both NASSCOM as well as the government can help initiate, right? And just bring it up to speed. The third one is the entrepreneur in residence. I think that's a great one, right? To help people understand how to solve, what that means, and what would it take, and the boot camps, etc. that you said. And finally, the talent, right? I think we need to solve for that. Thank you very much. Wonderful ideas, and we will carry the conversation forward.
Sounds good. Thank you, Nipun. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.